Phantom here, and today we're going to be doing a patch review on 10.6. So, scrolling to the top, we see in this patch, a lot of really safe buffs and a lot of safe nerfs. There's nothing really controversial in this patch, except for the mentioning of Twisted Fate, which I'll go over soon. But overall, you guys are going to see that this is overall a very safe patch, very normal buffs, very mediocre. No real major game changers here, except about 2 or 3 things, but that being said, let's just go straight into it. So, first off, Anivia. So, some of you may have heard in rumors that Anivia was going to get a way bigger ultimate, a way bigger buff, where with her R, they were debating about making it so when she ults, it's basically not interruptible anymore. And so they basically canceled out on that idea. Personally, I'm kind of glad they did that because they went with that direction. I think it would have made Anivia really overbearing to deal with into the late game. So instead, they're doing this. Ice duration, 2 seconds to 3 seconds. Now the same as Q. Frost Rush, ice duration. So what this does is Anivia has a interesting special ability where she kind of marks somebody, and in a time frame of a couple seconds, if she uses her E on them, it's going to do a lot of bonus damage right after. However, with the R, the mark only lasts for 2 seconds, and with the Q, it lasts a full 3 seconds. So now they're buffing Nivea so the R matches the Q. It's not the world's biggest buff. I don't really see this skyrocketing Nivea. In pro play, you can pick Anivia into certain situations where she's actually a really effective late game mage and probably one of the best. But because of all the rough matchups that she has, it's hard to fit her into certain competitions. And then coming for solo queue, Anivia's not bad, but she's kind of the definition of mediocre right now. I really don't see this buff taking her over the edge. I still think she's going to be middle of the pack champion, and it's probably going to remain that way until they up her damage or survivability by quite a bit. So now, more Aphelios nerfs. So, Aphelios. I'm going to talk about Aphelios for a moment. The other day, Reckless had a very interesting statement on Aphelios, Senna, and Misfortune. And he said if all three of those champions were to get hard nerfs, like genuine hard nerfs, then Misfortune would be the one who doesn't survive, while Senna and Aphelios does. And his reasoning for this is because Aphelios and Senna have a lot of utility that allows them to stay useful, while Misfortune is just a flat-out stat check type champion. So the thing is, when it comes to this, if they're going to keep on nerfing this champion, they're going to have to do a few things. First, they're going to have to nerf his damage on hit the base damage on his auto attacks by quite a bit, and secondly, they're going to have to nerf his utility by quite a lot. And until they actually do those type of nerfs, he's still going to remain a valuable champion. But that being said, let's review what they're doing here. So, the resurgent healing on the scythe pistol. 8 to 25% levels 1 to 18 to 3 to 20% levels 1 to 18. So I can tell you guys right now that this is going to do literally nothing for his healing. His sustain is still going to be very, very bonkers. This is nowhere near enough of what he needs to actually be lower down. Plus, when you consider the fact he's taking Bloodline and Doran's Blade anyways, he's just packed of healing into the early game. This is going to do nothing to hurt his sustain. And his dueling 1v1 when he has Scythe Pistol is still going to be very good. Inferno the Flamethrower, so innate Eisenhower AoE damage to minions, 45% to 33. I mean, it's still really good AoE, it's still really good wave clear, and that being said, it's just, even if it only did like 1%, it's still like really decent wave clear, so really, really weird. Okay, so Chakram, basic attack and power damage. So 30 to 173% to 24 to 164%. Personally, this Chakram is still overloaded. I feel like if you really wanted to nerf the bonus attack damage, you would actually have to nerf it the 164 all the way to 100%. Because when you think about 164, that's basically almost double the actual damage that you're doing now. Put it to 100%, and maybe we might actually see Chakram be fair. Darius. So W, bonus physical damage being reduced from 50 to 40 damage in the early levels, 60 to 50, and then 70 to 60. So it looks like every level it loses about 10%. Yeah, it does. And then the mana is going from 30 to 40. So this isn't going to matter at all. It's still going to be a very good ability. And plus what makes this ability kind of really painful is the fact it does it slow while applying a stack, while being an auto reset. So this isn't going to be enough to actually solve that. But what is probably going to hurt Darius a little bit is the fact that E Apprehend is being nerfed from 45 mana to 70 mana. And when you consider the fact that this is the ability that gets leveled up second, that might actually give him a little bit of mana issues in lane. That being said, it's hard to say for sure without actually seeing it on the live server, but there is a chance that this could be painful for Darius players in the early game. Next up, Draven, decaying movement speed increased. So we're buffing some of Draven's power in a way that experienced Draven players can capitalize on so they can muscle into higher skill levels of play. So decaying movement speed, 40 to 50%, 50 to 60, so every rank is getting buffed by 10%. This is actually pretty good. I actually really like this. It actually makes this level 2 all in all the more terrifying when you think about it. Do I think this is gonna bring Draven into like top tier meta? Not at all. I believe Draven's struggles comes from the fact that there's a lot of lane bullies like Senna and Aphelios that can exist right now. A lot of really rough supports like Zyra or Brand who can bully him and punish him for whenever he tries to land his axes. There's definitely a time and a place for Draven, but with the top tier meta right now, it's hard to get that time and place. So next up, Garen, base magic resist growth decrease, E-Crete stride ratio decrease. So magic resist growth going from 1.25 to 0.75. That could actually be potentially painful in his late game. But next up, so E judgment, crit strike ratio reduced from 50% to 33%. So this does nothing at all because E scales with attack speed. So the fact that they're not touching the attack speed on the E judgment at all means he's still going to be the exact same type of champion that really muscles for you. And then this only matters if there's heavy AP on the enemy team. And sometimes in solo queue, people will do it's really commonplace for people to just pick all AD teams, especially when you consider the fact that AD champions in general are more popular because they tend to have like cool mainstream thematics. Like Zed is a ninja, a lot of people like ninjas. Yasuo's a samurai, a lot of people like samurais. So when you consider the fact that the more popular champions in this game are AD champions, this isn't really going to hurt them because a lot of people don't even know how to play AD champions in the first place in solo queue. Next up, Hecarim R fear duration. So 0.75, 1.5 seconds based on distance travel to 0.75 to this is going to do absolutely nothing to help back Hecarim. I've been saying this for nearly a full year, and Hecarim's big problem is in the fact that the items he buys are way too expensive. To be a jungler and have almost no choice to buy Triforce, that is just not something you want at all. Um, for Hecarim to come back into the meta, a few things need to happen, and there's a few ways you can do it. Either jungle EXP and gold needs to be buffed so he can get to his items. B, he needs different build paths that he can go into to be just as viable as Triforce. Or C, maybe the damage on E and Q just revert the nerfs they did on Q. And I would actually be in support of reverting the nerfs they did on Q, because the thing is, when they did nerf Hecarim, he wasn't the key of popularity in the first place. He was pretty good, but it wasn't like he was overbearing. So one of those three things kind of need to happen. So Kane, they're trying to do a thing again where he gets to level up faster into one of his forms. Once again, Kane's problems are the fact that his base form is so worthless. Buff his base form, and then maybe Kane will actually be viable. Kindred. This is actually going to be one of the bigger buffs of this patch. Okay, so attack damage growth. 2.26 to 2.5. So that's actually quite a lot. And then mana regen being buffed to 7. That doesn't really matter. Health restore. Now this is going to be the more interesting one. So health restore is going from 32 to 49. That's actually going to be nice during the early games because Kindred. I've been saying this for a while. A big mistake that they did with Kindred was removing her well, not really full on remove, but kind of like her old W was better than the current W. The health restore honestly doesn't do anything. But Kindred players are complaining that they wanted it back, and then they got it, and it was just very lackluster. And then having Lamb's Respite going from 200 to 250 at rank 1, that's actually quite nice itself. And considering the fact that she's often ulting 3 to 4 teammates at the same time, that means she's giving a buff of about 200 HP in her R, so that's nice. Morgana, they're basically reverting the shield nerfs they did a while back. They're still keeping W a bit nerfed, but the fact that she gets E Black Shield back is really nice because it allows her to. When they nerfed her shield, a lot of matchups that she used to win, she stopped winning. So the fact she gets her black shield back, very nice. Morgana support will be more popular after this. Will she be picked a lot more up in pro play? Possibly. Rise Rune Prison. So it's going from 80 to 80, 120 to 140, and then late game 160 to 200. Personally, I don't feel like Rise needs to be buffed. I feel like he's already in a fair spot already. There's so plenty of places where you can squeeze him in as a counter pick against certain melees in the mid lane. Also, personally, I could be wrong in this, but I actually personally also like him in Vladimir, who's also starting to gain more popularity lately. So I feel like Rise has his place in the meta. So buffing his late game by 160 to by a whopping 40 damage with W. That being said, it's not gonna break him. Senna 80 per soul decrease. Miss cooldown now scales. So attack damage going from 1 to 0.75. So you basically need it's almost being nerfed by halved. I kind of said this needed to happen ages ago. I feel what's really making Senna very overbearing is the fact that her passive gives her too much. It gives her critical strike chance. It gives her range. It gives her damage. It even gives her gold per ghost. I would say half of these need to just be flat out removed because when you look at her passive, come late game at 30 minutes, she basically gets a whole 3,000 gold item at that point. So it's basically she has 7 item slots, with her passive being the 7th. Shaco, R hallucinate, clone basic attack damage, 75% total attack damage to. They're nerfing Shaco. Shaco's actually decent in solo queue, but the Shaco mains are very angry people. The Shaco mains are not gonna like this. I actually disagree with this nerf though, to be honest. Cause Shaco's good at solo queue, but completely trash in pro play. It's really weird that they're just attacking Shaco so hard. And here's the dumb part: they're saying AD Shaco is a bit too strong right now. But if I was to do a quick Google search right now, the best Shaco builds are all AP. So it's just like Shaco's doing good in solo queue, and Riot can't even comprehend why. This is incompetence. Alright, so now Soraka's getting a buff right now, so total rejuvenation heal going from 40 to 50, 60 to 70, 80 to 90. So at every rank it's going to get a plus 10. It's staying at the 0.3 ability power. Movement speed bonus is going from, I think that's a 10? Yeah, that's 10. From 15 to 25%. Um, Soraka's actually in a decent spot in the support. She's not in the greatest of spots, but she's above average, definitely. So does this make her snowball out of control like we were seeing last time? No, it doesn't, but this is nice. And it should serve as a placebo buff to make people consider her more often when she is viable. Okay, so now we're down to the most controversial buff of the patch. Twisted Fate, blue card AP ratio going from 0.5 ability power to 0.9 ability power. Because who needs gold card stuns when you have a death card? This is like mediocre, but this is just like late game, why would he even go gold card anymore? Because blue card's just gonna flat out one shot people now. Like it's not gonna one shot a tank, but if it's like an ADC, like I guess what you do now is you just go like your combo's gonna be like gold card auto, then blue card comes and then boom blue card finishes them off. Like I actually think this will make it if Twisted Fate goes full AP and like let's say he has a Lich Bane, late game blue card should just flat out do 50 to 60% of an ADC's health, maybe more. Okay, so now Urgot's being buffed. Q, slow duration 1 second to 1.25. That means nothing. E, stun duration 0. Okay, these buffs do nothing. The issue that Urgot has right now is the fact that he's not tanky enough to survive team fights, and he doesn't do enough damage to justify his lack of tankiness. So, like, one of those two themes needs to be buffed. Like, either you buff his tankiness or you buff his damage. Base AD Grove armor in. So this is like really weird because Veigar is already one of the best mid laners in the game. Period. It's only 10 damage per rank, but that does add up by quite a bit when he kind of comes to trades. Because let's say you used the Q 5 times now, that's now 50 extra damage than you had in the past. And this can hit multiple people, so let's say you hit 2 people with it, that's now 100, so you now get 20 bonus damage than what you used to have on a single target for one rotation. So It's weird that Vagar's getting a buff when, in my opinion, he's probably like the fourth or fifth best mid laner in the game. So Wukong. Whoa, we are on the Wukong rework. I think I'm gonna save this for last. Yeah, we're gonna save this for last. Seraph. Center damage champ, 50% to 66.7% increase. Yikes. Our damage shot, 200 to 200, 240 to 250, 280 to 300, 0.43 ability power to 0.45. So, Seraph is a champion that I think is a really good support and a mediocre mid laner right now. And I think this makes him, like, actually a genuinely really good support right now. As for mid lane, there's times where he can be chosen, especially in pro play, where if you're going for like a poke comp. But I will say, Zoe probably outclasses him as the better poker. Jungle champions. Brand's being buffed to 120% damage per monsters. Brand jungle is now 100% insane. I was testing Brand jungle out before this buff, and it actually feels completely fine. I really don't notice much pressure at all while farming. The only thing I'm afraid of is that they pick something like Lee Sin in the early game and try invading me. Brand jungle, 100% a thing now. Morgana, W tormented shadow monster. Okay. I don't think this will do too much because they did nerf the base damage on W a while ago. So I feel like if they want Morgana jungle to be a thing, they also need a buff to base damage on W, which would also bring back Morgana mid lane, which I don't think they want. Jungle Shen is just something I'll never agree with because the whole point of his ultimate is to make him a global threat. But if you're a jungler, that by default makes you a global threat. So why are you putting a champion with a global ultimate into the jungle? That just seems weird. Teemo. So they're buffing Teemo jungle by quite a lot. So Q now lasts 100% longer versus monsters, while E toxic shot damage does 150 damage to monsters. Teemo jungle is the thing now for solo queue. This will make it a thing for solo queue. How good? Probably will just be mediocre. I know there is a really good Teemo one trick in Challenger who plays Teemo jungle, but I don't think this is gonna like. I credit that more to him being a good player than Teemo being a good champion, and I feel like even he would agree with me on that. And going into I think this makes Teemo jungle definitely a thing now, but I don't think it's gonna be like ONG best jungler ever. I think it's just like middle of the pack, like B tier jungler. Yorick. Passive Shepherd Soul's final service. Yorick now raises graves on large monsters, deaths, and mistwalkers takes pity. So people have been trying to make Yorick jungle work for quite a while. The big problem is that if they wanted Yorick jungle to be consistent, um, they would need to find a way to like just like either A, with his Q instantly mark camps, because like the issue is like you finish a camp and then like sometimes you don't really get the goals that you want because you can only really do it on large camps. It just feels very clunky. It doesn't feel consistent at all. Maybe buff the base damage that E does to camps. That could be a thing. Zyra plant damage now lasts 150%. Now the one. Okay, now I'm afraid if a Zyra leashes me when I'm playing jungle, so I'm afraid she's gonna outright one-shot it now. But I think the big winners of this one are Brand. I think Brand jungle and Teemo jungle are the biggest winners of this round of buffs. Funnel mechanics being nerfed by quite a bit. Funneling. The issue with funneling is Riot doesn't realize that the issue is not the funneling. In fact, when you look at funnelers, they don't even really tax mid lane anymore. They just flat out play the combo. It's the combo of playing Master Yi and Target at the same time. That is the actual problem. Master Yi and Zilli. Like the problem is that Master Yi just super hardcore shines when he has someone to just peel for him on his team. If you peel for Master Yi, he's generally a good champion. You can even pull him out and pull him off in pro play. It's just it's the combo. It's just Mastery is too good when you give them peel. And unless they find a way to cleverly nerf that, it will always be a thing. Okay, so top lane significance follow up, Death's Dance. So here we got the TB buff, so at least they say it's a buff. So free this is not a buff. This is not a buff. Late game it's a buff, but early game it's a nerf. This is mediocre. This is like honestly, I feel like this doesn't really change much of anything. But maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm just completely wrong. Okay, so then let's go to Wukong. So Magic Resist going from 32 to 28, a nerf. Health 577 to 540, a nerf. And that's actually quite a big nerf. Mana 265 to 300. Okay, that's good. Mana growth. I think it's a 35 or a 38. We're just gonna say it's a 35 to 45. Okay, a buff. Recommended items updated. Passive Stone Skin. Armor 4, 6, and 8 levels 1, 7, 13 to 5 through 11 levels 1 through 18. So big buff there per nearby champion. So that's actually a big buff because basically let's assume it. So 18, he's in a team fight. 18 times 5. That's well over 60 armor right off the bat. So that's good. Magic resist. Okay, so they're nerfing how good he is against AP, but he's gonna be good against AD. Okay. Health regen now grants 0.5 health regen per 5 seconds. Okay, so they're giving him more sustain. Okay. Man in the mirror. Bonuses are increased 62.5% for 5 seconds every time Wukong or his decoy hit an any champion or monster. So basically, what do they mean by bonuses? Do they mean like bonus armor, bonus AD? Let's assume it just means armor. So it just means like armor, right? So that would be like, so for 5 seconds every time this Wukong or his decoy hit an enemy. Wukong is tanky now. And it's stat. Whoa. This just became one of the best passives in the game. This actually became one of the best passives in the game. Because let's assume it's just armor. Like, let's just assume it's just armor. 11. So I'm gonna put a calculator, just so you guys can actually see how big this actually is. I have no idea if it just means bonus off the passive, bonuses off everything, but we're gonna just assume it means just bonuses off the passive. So 11 times 5. That's 55. Okay. And then so our 62.5%. And then, actually, we're just gonna do. Let's see, 62.5%. This is so much. I don't even need to do the calculator. This is just. That's like 200. That's over 200 armor. Wow. So basically, Wukong's passive gives him like well over 2,000 gold of value. This became like just as good as Senna's passive, if not better. Okay, Q, Crushing Blow. Basic attack damage. So 10, 40, 70, 130, being buffed to. So 20 per. So early game it gets buffed by 20, then 15, then 10, then 5. So early game it got buffed by a lot, then late game it still got some buffs, but it kind of slows down a bit. Bonus range 125. So they nerfed the early game, but then it scales now. Ooh, 175. That's a lot. New, hit fast. Cast time now scales with Wukong's attack speed. Is Wukong gonna build attack speed? Maybe he builds Triforce now? Okay, decoy CR. Whenever Wukong or his decoy deal damage with base attacks or abilities Q, crushing blows cooldown is. Oh, so we're gonna skip this and go into the W. So, kind of pure of heart. Added 300 range dash that can't go over walls. Okay. So 300 dash but can't go over walls. Stealth duration. 1 second. That's fine. So I'm kind of weirded out by this. So he has a dash, but it's still a stealth. How does that work? Do you have to press it twice? How could this be a dash and stealth at the same time? Like, does he like get both at the same time? Do you have to press it twice? I'm curious how this works, but this actually does look better right off the bat. So they're getting rid of the AoE damage before disappearing. Cooldown 18 to 20, 19 to 16. So cooldown being nerfed by a little bit, but not to an extreme amount. Cost is going to be 60 at all ranks. New decoy damage reduction. Wukong's decoy now mimics his attacks and open. Okay, decoy base X. The decoy will attempt to attack enemies Wukong has recently attacked. The decoys next attacks will. So is it like a Shaco clone now? The decoy gains it. I think this is like a Shaco clone you can control now. This is so good. This is so good. Nimbus Cloak, damage. So it looks like it does the exact same thing. Damage being damage is overall close to the same. Bonus attack speed buffed. This is actually these are all really good. This is all really good. Wukong can now cast his ultimate a second time within 8 seconds. The second cast can knock up enemies. What? What? There's no way this stays. Because the series is insane. The reason why Wukong, even in his trash day, like before this buff, before this rework, the reason why Wukong was still able to get like really good win rates by one tricks is because largely because his E ultimate combo was basically a Malphite. And if you know anything about Malphite, Malphite ultimates kind of auto win team fights, and Wukong's ultimate kind of did the same thing. So the fact that you basically get to do it out Malphite ult twice. $20 to 200, 1.1 to 4.8% maximum. Wow. Wukong meta, baby. Wukong is back. So that being said, big winners to this patch. Seraph, Brand Jungle, Teemo Jungle. Wukong is the biggest winner of this patch. Veigar, this will go to this. Twisted Fate's the big winner. And overall, those are the big changes that are going to matter this patch. So, just to review it one more time. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Kinda matters. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Hardcore matters. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Matters. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Hardcore matters. So, those are the winners of this patch. Hope you all liked this and found it informative. I'll see y'all next time.